Hey everyone, it's Brian here, or Dell, as in Awesome Books and Questions with Dell. And today I just finished reading The Cost of Loyalty by Tim Bakken. Bacon. Tim Bacon. Tim Bacon is a professor of law and the first civilian promoted to professor of law at the U.S. Military Academy at West Point. And he wrote an amazing book. I read this book only after I finished my book. And one of the themes that I talk about in my book early on is how the military values loyalty over integrity. And as such, from that, a lot of bullshit follows. He goes on to explain the bullshit in a lot more historical and important legal work developed because, he's a lawyer and he's really smart. But great book, by the way. I totally recommend it. That would be the big takeaway. The one big takeaway I got from this book is that the cost of loyalty is a lot of bullshit. A lot of terrible and horrific shit, too. Another one of the takeaways that stems from the emphasis of loyalty over integrity that Tim Bakken explores is silence and how loyalty encourages silence. You've probably all heard that saying before that snitches get stitches. Well, in much the same way, in the military, snitches and their families get fucked by speaking up about things that they probably should speak about. And we see this all the time. We see this all the time. In fact, we consider it still, even among many veterans who sniff out the emphasis of loyalty over integrity as bullshit. How, not trash talking is a good thing, right? But sometimes there's a greater duty to inform the public about the bullshit than there is to keep silent about it. However, if you're a veteran and this is your job, you have family to feed, and it's not so easy to simply switch to another job, there's a lot of incentive to toe the line, to toe the party line. And especially because speaking up could also mean civil and criminal action taken against you as a veteran, depending on what it is what it is that's happening. One of the examples he gives is that of a cadet, Eric Thomas, from the U.S. Air Force Academy, who in 2011, 2012 worked as a criminal informant to produce evidence against cadets involved with helping cadets involved with drug abuse and sexual abuse, and how on even one occasion he fought off a would-be rapist to save a fellow cadet. And as a reward for his help, the Air Force expelled him, gave him, I'm going to guess, a less than honorable discharge, and of course, it made him endure a bunch of other bullshit too. I mean, he wasn't expelled right away. And that was back in 2011, 2012, 2013. Another one of the officers who did graduate was aware of the informant program, and he's in the Air Force. He's an Air Force officer now, or at least at the time he was interviewed and quoted in this book. And he said that cadets there know, but they keep silence when they otherwise should have spoken up. He cites another incident of the famous My Lai massacre, in which a platoon of Army soldiers murdered and raped this is a village of about 500 Vietnamese during the Vietnam War. This was a long time ago. One of the soldiers there was quoted to have said that, if I didn't participate, I myself could have been shot, right? So, loyalty, that is what you call the cost of loyalty. And it's a really great book. I would recommend it. He even cites a couple famous works that I cite in my book here, one of which is a work by Wong and Garris, who wrote a very famous Army paper titled, what was it titled? It's Lying to Ourselves, and how it is impossible for us to complete all our mandatory training. There was a study conducted around the time Wong and Garris wrote when they wrote their paper, was that it takes about 10 out of 12 months for a company commander to complete all mandatory training, specifically training within AR 350-1. Fast forward about 10 years later, another study revealed that it would take about 22 months out of a 12-month calendar to complete the mandatory training then. Now, how does one do that? One doesn't. It's just not possible. But as service members, as soldiers, right? We follow orders. Non-compliance is not an option. So how do we achieve the impossible? We don't. We just simply lie at a bunch of small things, and that's what he points. That's what Mongaris pointed out in the famous paper, lying to ourselves. And lying on the small things leads to lying on the bigger things. And this book explores a lot of that. It's a really good book. If you're a veteran, I think you should read it. In part because, one, we don't just drink the Kool-Aid, we manufacture this bullshit. And at some point, it's just got to stop. All right, talk to y'all later.